think I would actually probably not like, or Atticus probably wouldn't openly interact with anybody like initially, but given the opportunity, like someone just briefly like starting a conversation would give him enough room, like immediately make him almost enough comfortable to start interacting with at least that person that initiated the conversation.
Okay.
Forgetting the scenario he's in, and just kind of going, oh yeah, I'm kind of more happy that he's happy to be here. There's a reason he's here, and he's like, it's working. I'm glad it's working. I'm gonna get away. That sort of thing. Where it's like I'm easing up, moments away from victory, I guess.
Okay. All right.
So I'm guessing in these seats they're somewhat like a plane where there's rows or somewhat clustered together.
Yep.
Not us, but people.
Yeah.
So if the conversation goes as you just described, and I hear someone saying how his parents went a while ago and they never heard from it again, I would be interested to almost probe that and say, you never heard from them again, not one bit.
Well, he says there was, a couple of emails, but I'm sure they're just really busy. Communication over that vast a distance has got to be tough.
Yeah, tough. I understand. The emails. Did they talk about anything going on? Any weirdness? Any activities, events?
Well, no weirdness. They always made it a point to say how busy they were and how they were doing all right and really enjoyed life on a space station. Yeah, nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that I wouldn't have expected.
Sure, maybe I'm using the word odd or weird a little bit incorrect. But their jobs, what they do on the daily, that sounds nice. That sounds fun. Did the communications just abruptly stop, or have they just been irregular in general?
Yeah, well,
I I have a notepad out for some reason too.
okay. Kind of looks at you with the notepad and says, "Mom and Dad were never super great communicators. They weren't awesome with technology the way us young people are, which is an interesting thing to say because they would have grown up with technology far beyond what we have today. Um, but that's just kind of how they were or are, kind of how they are. So it was really sporadic and so on and so forth. And it's about that time a dude in a uniform walks over and says, "We'll be leaving in just a few moments. If you wouldn't mind putting on your restraints," which is in kind of a weird
Sir,
way to say that.
my tray table is up.
Thank you very much, sir. And he goes on down the line. And
If you walk by, if you walk, sorry, Asher.
I was making a dumb Brett comment.
Dude.
So the conversation keep going.
I assume as soon as a guy of authority comes by, I'm gonna try and cease my interrogation.
Okay. You kind of had the feeling that it wasn't going to go very far anyway.
Yeah.
So things progress. You are informed very shortly that the ship has undocked, and you didn't even notice. And things flash up on the screen, and this lovely lilting female voice begins giving you facts about travel in space around Earth, and then gives you some additional information about travel through the gate and where you're going to be going, so on and so forth. It's all very, very generalized when information about the other side is given. But you are informed that you will be able to watch travel through the gate, in the gate, and coming out of the gate on hollow screens and various other viewing opportunities. They even have viewing rooms where you can go and watch things happen real time. And it's announced that a male voice takes over and gives you additional information and says, we are just a few minutes from making the jump. Sit back and relax. And after we get underway, you'll be able to get up and move around, etc. And these screens change from what they had been, which was kind of an infomercial-y type stuff, to external on the ship. And you can see that you're approaching the gate, which looks like a huge metal ring that currently is inert. There's nothing inside it, but then they start kicking it on, and it gets this kind of glossy film come over, fill up the inside, but you can still see through it. It's not completely opaque. But that intensifies, and there are electrical arcs that occur within, going from one side to the other, or a third of the way from the point of origination. And it's very random, but it becomes more opaque and intense as things progress. And then everything goes super white. It's blue, but it's almost white. And then the cameras adjust, and it takes on this deep green color inside. And then you are in and through. And like I said in the previous session, you're really surprised that going to FTL speeds was as smooth as it turns out to be. And the screens, there's no longer space. It looks like you're going through a tunnel that is really cloudy. It's mostly darkish gray, but it's marbled with black, like there are breaks in the clouds, if it's the only thing you can think to describe it as. And it's going by what you would expect it to be going by, as would be insanely fast, and it just doesn't appear that way. And it's at that point where the female voice comes back over the speaker and says, we will be under FTL, or we will be in FTL flight for several hours. Feel free at this point to get up and move about. There are several bars that you could visit. There are viewing areas that you can hang out in. There's a game room on deck 3. There's also a gift shop, just blah, blah, blah. She word vomits a bunch of information. It sounds like basically you're on a cruise ship at this point. There are places to go eat. There are places to go drink. There are places to go have fun. And there you go. It's at that point.
Did she mention how long? Like how long the flight's going to take, or how long we have to expect?
Yeah, she said
Hours.
She said several hours. But you look on the screen, and in the lower right-hand corner, it's actually got a countdown timer, and you're looking at approximately 8 hours.
Joshua kind of looks down at his clock, and he kind of messes around with it for a second, and then you see him kind of lock something in. And then he gets up and goes to find a bar somewhere to get a drink.
Okay. Brett,
Brett,
there is a dude sitting next to you who has been very quiet the whole time. And as you're sitting there listening to all the stuff that they're telling you, or maybe just eyeing the cute girls, this guy who's been sitting next to you fiddles with his watch just a little bit and then stands up and starts to walk away. Joshua, what does your character look like?
He got up and walked away.
He got up and walked away.
Yeah. You literally caught me going to get a beef stick.
Oh,
My guy is like, what do we want to know? Like height, like hair.
Yeah,
I mean, everything.
general physical description.
General.
Whatever you want to give, skin color, hair color, height, build, demeanor.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to see. Did character screen? Did I put anything in here? So yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, you're gonna see that he is a Caucasian, probably mid-30s. He is. You notice that he's got a on his left arm is I'm gonna say like bionic or cybernetic. And that also match, and you can't really tell, but you kind of hear that when he walks, he's got a little, you hear a little bit of like whirring and like a little, like there's some robotic noise there. I'm basically gonna have darker hair, almost black, a little bit of few grays in there, but he kind of holds himself, I mean, I think most people that would look at him, I mean, his hair is cut kind of short, kind of cropped up on the sides. He's basically, you can tell that he has done some kind of service. He just has that air about him.
Relaxed but confident.
I mean, definitely confident. Like he's been on flights before. He's not stressed out about the flight. You can tell he's almost kind of excited, but he no worry or anything like that.
Okay. So that brings us to Brett. What are you gonna do?
Brett's gonna kind of stop going, whoa, and dude, for a second, and then go look at the game room.
Okay. You get up and you head to the nearest elevator to take you down to deck 3. And as you are going, you pass a couple of chairs. Gabriel and Atticus, a very long-haired, lean, athletically built young guy walks past you, and he's got this almost goofy look on his face, but it's not goofy. It's just really enjoying life goofy. He seems to really be excited to be on the ship. And for you, Brett, as you go by, you pass 2 individuals. One of them is he's got very disheveled hair, but it doesn't look like it doesn't look like bedhead. It maybe he runs his hand through it a lot as he's thinking and just doesn't comb it afterwards or smooth it out. He's got a big mustache and no beard. And he's Atticus, are you just sitting stoically people watching, or are you reading something, or what are you doing?
So at this point, and I've loosened up, as the ship has officially left the station. Taken a pretty deep breath, and my demeanor has shifted quite a bit at the thought of there being a bar nearby. Um, it's turned into being very tired, very worried about getting here. To I'm here. This is all I need. This is over. So seeing a dopey person, to me, that feels like perfect bait for some sort of ruse to get a couple drinks. Are they free drinks? Or are we paying for them? I guess.
Well, you'll have to go find out.
Okay. Well, right now, my initial thought is I kind of want to scam this guy into getting me drinks. Because he seems a little bit on the dopey side.
Okay. Are you going to say anything to him?
Rude.
Let me think. let me think of something I would say
Okay,
if I'm trying to scam someone out of drinks.
We'll come back to you. Gabriel. Same thing. Guy, athletically built, walks by, seems to get the attention of one of your neighbors that
Teammates.
hasn't spoken with you yet, but it's the crazy-haired guy with the big mustache. He seemed really tense when he boarded and sat down. But now that you're underway, he seems to be pretty relaxed, and he's eyeing the long-haired athletic guy. What are you up to?
How long have we been on the ship waiting for everything to get underway?
Probably about 2 hours. It takes a long time to seat 20,000 people.
Have I spotted anybody that set off my paranoia alarms?
Well, let's see.
That's Brett.
First
Yes,
roll
Brett.
of the game. Let's do. Um, Search. Give me a search roll. No,
A search
I'll give
roll.
you the option: search or alertness. I know which one you're going
Okay.
to choose.
Well, if I can get my character sheet to open up, I'll do it. Oh shoot! I forgot to open this up in the in
Incognito.
incognito mode.
Uh-oh. Okay, well, I'll roll for you while you do that.
I didn't.
Yeah,
and you-
alertness is what I'm leaning towards by definition, but I don't actually know which one I'm better at. So
You're way better at alertness.
okay, so I failed. So I'm actually starting to relax, and I'm starting to look at the people around me as people and not potential threats. I'm still a little nervous, but I'm pretty sure that whoever it is, once the ship's underway, they would have left. So I'm feeling a lot more comfortable, and I'm just kind of checking out the people around, listening to the voices, to see if any of them speak something that I'm more comfortable with, and kind of practicing my translations to see if I follow the thread of the conversations. Because, like I said, I know English. I don't know English great. So
Okay.
mostly I'm probably going to sit tight. If I could manage it, if the seats were not assigned, I'm as close to a bulkhead as I could be.
Okay.
And I'm people watching.
Okay. By the way, translation apps have come leaps and bounds, and your watch does a great job of making that translation for you. So communication is not going to be out of the question or extraordinarily difficult for you. There just might be a bit of a delay.
So what I'm probably doing at this point is practicing with it because it's probably relatively new tech for me.
Okay.
So I'm goofing around with settings and practicing it and people watching. So
Okay. Mark, as people get up and begin to shuffle around and head off to their various destinations, you hear a female voice behind you say, "Excuse me, sir." And one thing about these seats is they swivel 360.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to turn around to face her, or at least give her, like a 90-degree angle to her.
Okay.
Just say, yes.
So you turn around and it's a long-haired blonde woman, quite attractive, early 20s, very very fit physique, very soft features. She says, I was curious. My screen stopped working at some point in the presentation. Did they say how long we're going to be in FTL?
I'm gonna, just look at my screen. My screen does have that number, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just gonna read her off it, I suppose.
Okay. You do that. She says, "Great,
What-
thank you very much." And as she says that, she tilts her head a little bit, and you can see behind her that she had turned away from her screen, and there ain't nothing wrong with her screen. It either came back on or she's lying to you. And she says, "I was thinking about going and getting a drink. Could I buy you one?"
Tom, what are you doing to me here? I was already kind of, if someone interacts with me, I'm going to take that moment to try and, again, semi-interrogate. So this plays right into my hand. I said, absolutely. I was headed there myself. Let's go.
Perfect. All right. So you head off to the bar. I'm going to have to remember names. You head off to the bar with the lady. Josh is headed to the bar. Gabriel is talking to his watch. Atticus is contemplating getting Brett to maybe buy him drinks so he doesn't have to do so. Atticus, are
Brett's
you going
currently on
to?
his way to the third floor.
So say that again. I missed it.
And Brett is currently on his way to the third floor, if I remember correctly.
Yes, third floor to hit the arcade or the game room. Atticus, are you actually going to pursue your plan or not?
I am, and the way I'm going to go about it is just by asking him where he is going first.
Okay. How are you going to get his attention? This place is wall to wall people.
Well, I'm just gonna get up. I guess I'm trailing behind him, so I'm gonna give him an old fake fall into him.
Okay.
Maybe drop a couple of items if I have like a watch or something on me too, or my phone if I have some sort of cellular device on the ground to be some sort of nuisance to get his attention.
Okay.
Uh,
Brett, you're
So-
almost to the elevator and somebody bumps into you. Not like viciously, but it's not, oh pardon me. It's harder than that. But it's not a shove.
Yo, dude, where you're going, bro? You okay?
Oh, sorry, man. Sorry, I just don't know where I'm going. A little disorientated, And I'm fumbling for my goods, trying to pick them up. Like, oh man, like completely befuddled by what's going on.
Depending on how many items are on the floor, I would attempt to pick one up.
And I would be like, oh, don't worry about it, and I'm getting them. But I thank him for the attempt to help. um, now this is where I'm going to ask you, where are you going? What's going on? Like,
I was going to that game room they mentioned. Sounds kind of fun. So they got going on there.
I totally agree, but you know what I love to do when I go to play in the arcade? Just get drunk. It is so much fun. It is so much fun to be in the arcade drunk. What do you think we hit the bar before we stop by the game room?
Alright, sure. I'm down.
Okay.
All right, I guess we're on our way.
Oh,
You head off.
You're so tactful.
to the bar.
Josh, you walk into the bar and the place is full. There's very limited seating, but you are able to find a spot at the bar where you can, at minimum, order, and then find somebody to talk to or stand around while you drink. Wait for a table to free up, something along those lines. So you get up. It's not a human bartender. It is an android unit. Android being a distinction between hybrid or cyborg. Android is essentially a full-on electronic unit, and you can tell this because it's not like you're ordering from a droid in Star Wars. They actually covered it with biomass, but you can tell because it never blinks. And in a not monotone but not overly expressive voice, it says, "And what will you have today, sir?" Josh. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm typing. So,
Okay.
I will go. I kind of set my hand on the bar, and I say, you know what? Why don't you just give me a good old fashioned beer? And he looks over, kind of see what they have on tap.
Sets a menu out in front of you, and when I say a menu, it's digital, so it's like two chopsticks. Sets it on the bar and then spreads them apart, and it begins scrolling information and says, "There you go."
I look and I say, you know what? Just let's go with something light. And I just kind of point down at it and I say, let's have this one.
Very good, sir. It takes the thing back. It reaches under the bar. You can tell that it's typing, and it doesn't break eye contact with you at all. You can tell that it's typing, and then a section of the bar depresses and moves out of the way, and up from inside the bar comes a bottle, and it scoots it over towards you, and the portal closes, and you've got your frosty, ice cold beverage. Okay. As you turn around and start to make a decision as to what you're going to do, you do see a table appears to open up. There are two people who look like they are no longer enjoying one another's company in the least. Looks like a couple. And they get up and go their separate ways. So you've got an opportunity to sit if you wish.
Yeah, I go ahead and reach over and I grab the beer, kind of slide it off the bar and kind of push off and head that way to try to get a chair as quick as I can.
Okay. You make your way through the crowd, and as you do, you have to pause and let a young guy with a very good-looking blonde woman pass in front of you, and she says, "Excuse me, Mark. Do you say anything as you make your way through the sea of people, just in general? Are you just talking with her, oblivious to everybody else, or are you displaying good manners, or what?"
I think my attention is 90% to her, not because of her looks, but potentially because of her approachability. But I think I'm going to nod my head, kind of like, excuse me, as I'm questioning her. But not.
Okay. So there's a lot of nodding and distracted
Yeah.
excuse me's, and,
Yeah.
and Josh, that's what you get as they pass by, and
I can tell that he's not paying attention to anything else at this point.
Yep.
All right.
So you
I
get
kind of do this, and I kind of hey, no problem, and I let him go by, and I slip on over to see if I can get a chair.
all right. So you get to the table at the exact same time as a young man who is holding a non-alcoholic beverage, and he is relatively slight of build. Certainly not scrawny, but relatively slight of build. He's obviously somebody who thinks for a living, and he seems distracted as he reaches the table at the same time as you, and starts to pull out a chair, and then he notices you and says, "Oh, sorry," and lets go, and starts to turn around. He's looking, obviously doesn't know what he's going to do, where he's going to go.
So I look at him and I say, hey man, it's no problem. Why don't you go ahead and sit down? I'm by myself anyway, and there's not a lot of tables open. So I point to the chair.
Oh, okay, thank you. And he sits down, and he's got light brown hair. He's wearing a suit and tie, and he seems not nervous, but he seems like social interaction maybe not his first language. But he starts to try and make a little small talk, and it's awkward, but it's not awful. Mark, blonde girl. Her name is Olivia, and
Olivia, my name is Mark.
Hi, Mark. She's obviously into you, and she is just as willing as ever to talk to you. It becomes very apparent relatively quickly. You're pretty good at reading people. She is way more interested in talking to you about her than about you.
Typical girl.
Savage.
So Olivia, what the heck brought you here? What made you want to put your name in the hat?
I'm just
Seems like you'd be fine on the planet.
I'm sick of Earth. I just want to get away permanently. And it was either this or, you know. And there's this awkward seconds long silence.
Can I read what that might be? Because I mean, I don't know if she's talking about several things come to my mind, but I don't know the time, place of this world really.
Yeah. You get the feeling she's talking about suicidal things.
Oh shit! Okay. I was thinking more of the army.
Same thing.
Oh wow.
Okay. The Starship Troopers were in? I don't know. Okay, if that's the feel I'm getting, well, yeah, then this is a lot better outcome. I think that you do fine out there in the nothingness. Do you have anyone out there that you know? Anybody you want to connect with? Trying to stay playful, but yet
Right.
checking bases.
She seems kind of wistful for just a split second, and then she covers it up and she says, "No, I'm leaving people, and happy to do so. I need a fresh start."
So does anyone know that you're coming to the new world?
Man, I hope not.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to cut away from you for a few minutes. Atticus and Brett, you make your way to the nearest bar, and you walk in, and the place is crowded, and they've got not overly loud, but it's kind of loungy, but it's very extremely popular
High
right
school
now
lunchroom.
is loungy techno music. It's a strange blend, but people like it. And you can tell as you walk in that you're potentially going to have a difficult time finding some seating, but there's room at the bar to at least order and potentially lean. So you approach the bar, and there is an android there that says, "Hello, gentlemen. What would you like to drink?"
Hey, beer.
Sets down some
Suck,
chopsticks,
dude.
presents you with the menu. They have 372 types of beer available.
I'll take a Brahma. I just looked up
Jeez.
Brazilian beer, and that's one of the ones that popped up.
Okay. He does this thing where he just reaches under, types some stuff, never breaks eye contact, never blinks, and then up from the a recess in the table pops your Brahma. Atticus, what are you going to drink?
I'm gonna take an exact same thing that he orders.
Okay.
After a moment of consideration, that's exactly what I want.
Okay. You also get your beverage. You gonna lean on the bar and chat for a little bit, or Atticus? Since this seemed to be of importance to you, I will point out that you were not asked for any monetary payment.
This results in me immediately drinking my drink as fast as possible to order a second one.
Okay. Gabriel, you're sitting there and you're doing one of your language lessons with your watch, and people are passing by, and you're just hanging out, and you're not sure why or what the deal is, but you just get that feeling that something's not quite right. I think you're muted. I think you're muted.
He has pants on.
There you go.
Am I still muted?
You are
Okay, yeah.
unmuted, sir.
No, we hear you.
I had to mute it and unmute it to get it to work. Interesting. So there are different scenarios, different wrong feelings that he would have been through. As a pilot, there are those times when the machinery is not feeling quite right. There are times when the crowd of late, you get that skin crawling up the back of your neck. Working on a patient and we need to double check because I missed something. Do I have an idea which of these it is? If not, I'm going to kind of focus in and try to figure out, is it the ship? Is it the crowd? I'm not working on a patient, so that eliminates one.
Yeah. You're pretty sure immediately it's the crowd. It's you don't feel secure. There are too many people. You're very, even off to the side here, you're very unprotected. It's there might be somebody watching you. You're not sure on that, but it's definitely the crowd. You're getting the heebie-jeebies.
Okay. He will, as nonchalantly as he can manage, stop what he's doing with the watch, stretch and stand and move out into the corridors to see if any of the faces, after he's wandered for a bit, if any of the faces are still familiar.
Okay.
Start evasive maneuvers, if you will. He might head for the bar, but that sounds like that'd be crowded and hard to spot. So he's gonna go for a walk, go for a wander.
Go for a wander. You can certainly do that on this ship. It is huge. Okay. So, Josh, you are sitting there. Are you chatting with this dude? He's gotten up the gumption to start asking you questions, just general but personal questions. Where are you from? What do you do? Those kinds of things. It's almost
Oh yeah, I
like
mean,
he's
we talked for a bit. I
like
mean,
he's going off a script.
he's got his how to interact with people handbook out.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk for a minute. I mean, I'll try to carry a conversation with him. I don't think that it's I'm not averse to talking to people, but I don't necessarily want to get super deep. So
Okay.
I
So
will
chat, but keep it light.
Yep.
You find out his name is Greg, and he is a scientist. He seems particularly proud and excited about that. Planet science mostly, but geology and other stuff.
Okay. I mean, I let him know that I'm just former military. Kind of put my hand up and say, I got out for a reason, and just kind of ask him what he's doing. What why is he going on the trip, and what's kind of his what's his motive?
Okay. You do that, and he just immediately begins word vomiting. You have found the magic button to get him off script, and he just immediately starts talking about, Earth is great, and Earth's been humanity's home forever, and so on and so forth, but we don't go to other planets often. I'll be able to There's so much discovery to be made on the other side, and I'll be able to go to planet after planet after planet, and I'll be doing all of these things, and I'm working for an Earth corporation right now, but I've got enough money. As soon as I get there and get settled, I'm going to start my own exploration corporation, and so on and so forth, and it's going to be great, and just blah 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 blah.
Take a big drink of my beer, and as it's kind of up over my eyes, I'm like, oh no, just I'm thinking to myself, going, oh my gosh. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's to put it down. I'm like, that's great, yeah. I did like the fact to hear that he's got money and maybe he's looking, that he's looking to start his own stuff though.
Yep. Okay.
I'll talk with him for just, a few minutes and kind of see what he says and I'll eventually say, hey, I don't know. Do I see anybody like refilling drinks around or do I need to go back
Oh
up
yeah.
to the bar?
Yeah. They've actually got drones coming around,
Okay.
and when yours actually seems to get kind of low, um, a drone will drop another of what you ordered first off. Yep.
Okay.
So these things are buzzing around all over the place. They seem to have a really good system. You kind of have an eye for that, given what you did for a career. So you notice the patterns and the behaviors and things like that, and um, you can tell that they're working on a grid, and it doesn't take you long as you listen to Greg just rattle on to kind of figure out. You don't have it down pat, but you've kind of figured out what the pattern is and the timing you're working on and so on. And it's kind of interesting the way they did it. So uh, you tune him out just slightly, and he just keeps going. And across the room, Brett. Brett.
I forgot who he is. What?
Just a little bit. It's fine.
You are hanging out with Drunky McDrunkerson. He's on his like fourth beer by the time you finish your first one. And he's not really saying a lot. He's talking a little bit, but he's not saying a ton. And I don't know, are you a very talkative guy?
Yeah, I would be.
Okay.
That would be like the most basic questions possible.
Right. So as
But
you
like
are
still talkative.
as you are filling the silence, you have noticed over his right shoulder as he's facing you, just a couple of people down, is a super good looking blonde chick with what looks like uh he's a moderately good looking young guy. Um you can see the appeal that that might have attracted her to him. And you can definitely see the appeal the other direction. You just
Okay.
gonna note and go on, or you gonna chit
Yeah.
chat with Atticus more?
No, silently congratulate him and then chat on.
Okay. So Mark, she's talking and talking and talking, and you notice over her shoulder that there's a long-haired guy who is staring, and as soon as you make eye contact, he kind of gives the upward nod, holds up his beer, gives you one eyebrow raise, and then goes back to talking to the duties with.
I'll give him like a raised eyebrow, like yeah, because I understand what he thinks, but I'm trying to. I think 75% of me is trying to gather information, but possibly the 25% is growing to what's your game plan once you get there? You staying by yourself?
So that really gets her attention, and she suddenly becomes slightly standoffish. and she says, "I don't really know what my plan is when I get there. I'm I'm gonna find a place to stay, and then figure out what to do after that."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I understand that. That's the same thing I'm planning to do. Maybe we can see each other around, or maybe we could try to discover this place together.
Yeah, sure. That'd be great. Um, yeah, that'd be great. You said your name was Dave?
Mark.
Mark, that's right. And she 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 puts a hand on your forearm and gives it a little squeeze. Um, and she says, "Hey, I'm gonna go powder my nose right quick. I'll be right back."
Oh, you're into cocaine. Okay.
Thought that pink.
Finally, someone's getting this party started. Go.
Do you really say that to
She's
her?
sweet.
No. No.
Oh, I was hoping. Oh well. All right, so
Sorry.
she gets up and heads off to do whatever she claims is powdering her nose, and leaves you there to take stock of the bar. Now, by this time, you've all been in there about 20 minutes or so, and the light weights have begun to thin out, filter out.
Fall on the floor.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
two questions. If the drones keep refilling, do the drones also take note of this and quit?
yes.
Okay. I was like, otherwise, this is crazy.
Yes. They're
Atticus will die.
the the AI that seems to be installed on these things is let's say a few notches above Google and Microsoft currently.
Copilot, it's not.
Copilot, it is not. It is full pilot. So there is a table now if you wish to sit at it. Mark, Atticus, things.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that she doesn't come back, so I'll go sit.
Okay, you're guessing she's not going to come back. Atticus.
Yeah, I'll wait for like 5 or 10.
Okay, you are 4 in. Um, the stoner guy has finished up his first and now has a second that he's really just holding for the last couple of minutes. You're not sure whether or not he's taken a drink of it, but he's asking you questions, and they're very general questions. It's the surface, polite, personal stuff, but you're amazed at how many of them this guy has. Most people exhaust their repertoire in a couple of minutes, and you're going on 15. And this dude, as soon as you answer one, he gives you another question, and it's actually kind of entertaining. He's not boring, and they're not stupid questions. Your 5th beer arrives.
Copilot is not doing well.
Mhm.
The drone comes up next to him, holds up a level. He's still straight enough, gives him his beer.
There you go.
Flashes his eyes.
That's the only test. I was assuming the technology would be like looking at like, retina scan and looking at like, hey, are they bloodshot? What's going on? But you're over here just ruler. Hey, they're upright. Let's get him another one.
Yeah, the bars where they actually care about your well-being are up on deck 5.
Oh,
Wrong bar. We were at the wrong bar. Or the right one.
Closest bar, not the best bar.
So what are you up to, Atticus? Other than beer
So anything
farms?
that guy is, if someone is talking to me, I'm lying, and I'm doing so extremely confidently while also being drunk. Like
Okay.
I will say something. 2 or 3 questions later, I will semi contradict what I just said in some way, not purposely.
Okay. So
Not purposely. Okay.
Captain Confidence. Open your character sheet, locate the persuade skill, and roll it.
Persuade.
Brett, open your character sheet and roll the alertness skill.
Looking for the lie like a rug button.
I rolled like I was drunk.
What did you do?
I rolled a 4. Oh, wait, that gives it a success.
Yeah,
That
Wait,
is
how does that work?
that is very good.
that is
I thought it was higher. You'd want to be.
No, low
no.
is good.
Yep.
No.
That's good. Okay.
You want to be below your number, and you
Okay.
are way below your number.
You are
Okay,
way
flying
below.
colors.
And Brett, you obviously, if you're watching the chat, you failed. Make sure that you check mark the box next to alertness because you failed it. Patrick, I took care of yours earlier.
I noticed. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, Atticus, this could not be going better. He is buying everything you're saying. Which makes it even
I have
more
explained
entertaining.
to him. I have explained to him that I was the world's wealthiest stockbroker. That I own like 45 mansions. Just ridiculous amounts of wealth.
He hasn't asked for any stock tips or anything. He's just there to have a good time. Okay. So there you go. Josh, across the bar, this guy, he seems to be getting louder as it goes on. He's talking to a dude. He looks like he could be like a professional athlete. But you're just not sure. He's very laid back guy, wearing a tank top and cargo shorts, and he's just hanging out. He's got long hair, and he's just holding a beer, and he's got this genuine looking smile on his face, while the dude he's talking to is getting hammered and louder and obviously lying.
I sat there and I look over and I'm just I've had this guy scoped for a while. Like you could tell like he was down and I'm like nobody's business. And I just kind of roll my eyes like, oh my God, this guy right here. Kind of look over and I'm like, man, I felt bad for myself earlier, or feel bad for myself because I'm the guy I'm sitting with, but it could be worse. It could be that guy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking to myself.
Yeah, and you glance over to Greg, the dude that's been sitting with you, and he has a look of you're not sure whether it's extreme envy or absolute disgust, but he's just looking at what's transpiring between these two guys across the bar, and he's just it's an intense look. And it's like he's stopped talking, you notice, and he's just staring, and you're not sure he even knows you're there anymore. Gabriel,
Kind of take the break in conversation, and I really kind of soak it in because I'm like, man, this guy's been going at me for a while now, and I'm actually gonna kind of break off and say, hey man, I'm gonna go take a walk a little bit. I want to go kind of stretch my legs and I'm actually gonna walk out, and I'm gonna want to head over towards one of the observation decks just to kind of see if I can't not get away from everybody, but just kind of just take a break, kind of be by myself for a minute.
Okay. You say that and you excuse yourself, and this
Yep.
dude doesn't even acknowledge that you got up. It's literally like you're not there anymore.
I know I made the right move, man. So
All right, so you get up and you head out the bar. You taking your beer with you?
I am, and I kind of look down at my watch and kind of look down at my arm, kind of check my watch, and I keep going.
Okay. So you walk out, and there is as you were coming in off to the right, just a couple of hallways down. There's a very short hallway that leads to an observation deck, so that's where you head. And a lot of people by this time have settled back into their seats. It's pretty loud, but it's not jarringly loud. There's a lot of conversation, but they seem to have engineered the sound mitigation technologies really well. You're in a room with thousands of people, and it's like you're in a nice restaurant where there's a decent amount of conversation going. And you go down a couple of entryways and turn into the observation deck, and
I'm gonna look for a place to just kind of set, just something I can go set, kind of kick my feet up a little bit.
Yep. As you turn the corner, you almost bump into uh, a uh, you almost bump into a guy who was looking behind himself as he was walking out of the observation deck. Um, he doesn't see you. He's going to bump into you if you don't do something.
I um I will go. I mean, I see him kind of out of the corner of my eye, and I kind of go, hey, sorry, and I kind of try to slide out of the way.
Gabriel, somebody just said, "Hey, sorry,"
I'm up here in my
and you suddenly become aware you were checking out the lady 8 people back because you thought maybe she was giving you the stink eye, and suddenly there's this dude, and he's like right up in your space. That's you, Patrick. Oh, we lost him. No, we didn't. Maybe. Okay, we'll come back to that.
Sorry, my phone died.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So,
we can
What
come
did I
back.
miss?
did you hear the lead in?
I heard that he about ran into a guy looking over his shoulder and wondered if it was me.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely you. You were looking back because you thought maybe a lady behind you was giving you the eye, the stink eye, and you were keeping an eye on her and trying to get out of there as quick as possible. And you hear this guy say, "Oh, hey, sorry, pal," or whatever he says, and it becomes
Oop. They're up and open.
lost him again, I think. Okay. Yep, we'll come back. Mark, we're back to
here.
you. Oh, there he is.
I'm here.
Patrick. Now, how much did you lose or not hear?
Lady was giving me the stink eye, and I was trying to get out of there.
Yep. And then this dude is like right up in your space. And he says, "Oh, hey, sorry, pal."
Perdón. Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me.
Hey, man, no problem. Just didn't want to run you over there. I say, and then I kind of look at him like it's okay. I feel like he's being a little little
Is
sketchy.
Josh a big guy?
Yeah, I mean he's probably like right around 6 foot. Well built because he's kind of maintaining the military lifestyle.
You've probably got 6 to 8 inches on Gabriel. He's fit looking, small frame. He's got brown hair that kind of fades to red a little bit, darker complexion. Definite accent. I don't know what your tour would have taken you to, but you definitely would place him south of the South America, Central America area.
Okay.
He's kind of he's a little freaked out. You can tell, but he doesn't look like he's not like running around the ship like there's no place safe to go. You know, something else has got him spooked. I think you would have that. I think you would catch that vibe. Obviously, he's looking over his shoulder. He's not
Being a little sketchy. I mean, he's got, you can tell he's like jittery, nervous.
Yeah, he's. I'm not exactly sure what he would do at this point. He's gonna kind of freeze because he's been avoiding people. He looks very unsure.
Okay. I mean, I'll go ahead and just I kind of try. I mean, just in the quick read that I've have of him. I mean, I'm just going to say, hey, man, I don't want to hold you up. I know, and it looks like you're heading somewhere, and so I just kind of slide to the side and kind of, hey, hope everything's okay. And I'm going to kind of turn and continue looking for that chair. And I'm going to kind of turn my head as I go by just to kind of look at him and see what he does.
Side eyeing you.
He looks over his shoulder past you into the room and kind of centers himself for a second. He's like, as is my error. I am sorry. I thank you. And you see him when you look back, he heads into the hallway like he's going somewhere. But because of your angle, you see that he stops 3 feet out of the room with it and backs up against the wall, and he waits.
I look at him and I go, okay, and I take the last slug of my beer, and I look around for a place to set, a place to set it, and I catch a drone as it comes by, and I look at him. I kind of make a mental note of it. I mean, I don't think it's anything I'm gonna,
Right. Yep.
pursue.
Okay.
But
so hours pass. You all have Mark. She does come back, but she is very reserved when she comes back, and the amount of information that she gives is very guarded and superficial when she returns. But she does hang out, and she asks some more about you, and conversation progresses. Hours pass. She will at some point excuse herself, say it was great talking to you. Maybe we'll run into each other, and then she heads back to her seat, or that's what she says. Hours pass.
I think she checked his credit rating.
Hours pass for everybody.
What'd you say?
Patrick says she checked your credit rating.
Oh, probably.
Okay. So you all have additional interactions with other people, be they friendly or superficial or whatever. all in all, it's a pleasant trip. Brett, you never get down to the game room. Just it never works out that way. And the announcement comes that arrival will take place in 5 minutes. The soft thrum of the ship's systems changes slightly as the crew prepares to leave FTL. The view on the screens changes from a stormy tunnel into a split second of what looks like a race of shooting stars, followed by a view of open space with a huge space station floating above an unfamiliar planet off in the distance. Obviously, all the passengers are quite excited. A cheer goes up, and lots of clapping and cheering, and everybody's, there are people high-fiving each other and so on and so forth. And it's about that time, if you're standing up, you are knocked off of your feet as a jarring, violent shudder runs through the deck, and it's punctuated by the shrieking scream of rending metals mixed with panicked wails of scrambling passengers. The calm air of the ship's interior suddenly accelerates into a high wind as the hull breach somewhere behind you begins to vent atmo into the vacuum of space. Flashing red lights kick on all over the place, and that's accentuated by green streaks of light in the ceiling that cut a certain path. They're all over the place, and a computer-generated voice blares into the cabin. Hull breach detected. Remain calm and follow the green markers to make your way to the escape pods. And it's on. Everybody.
And Tom kills me.
Everybody does what they're going to do. And give me just a sec here.
I mean, the least you could have done was have the blonde, sleep with me one time before I die.
That would have been maybe a little on the weird side.
Yeah, don't, no.
Come on. You are killing me here. Come on. Not you. Sorry, guys. Alrighty. So I did a crappy job of noting who got what. I remember, Gabriel, you're running. Some sort of explosion or impact behind you hurls you towards and maybe into an escape pod, and on impact everything goes black for you. I remember that. Joshua, I remember you made it into an escape pod with, I believe, two older people.
Yep.
An older man and an older woman, and you the door closes, and there is a lady who's trying to get in, and she's shrieking and pounding on the glass, and she doesn't make it. Fire envelops her as your escape pod jettisons the ship. Atticus and Brett, I can't quite remember what happened to
We
you.
both got in. And then a girl
That's right.
fell in and she was wounded.
Yes, an
If I remember correctly.
extremely good-looking blonde woman.
Oh no.
With a jagged chunk of metal protruding from her abdomen, stumbles in and collapses into the seat and sort of falls over onto the floor. These escape pods are made for two people, and so there's not a lot of room where you are, and the door closes as she collapses, and then you're jettisoned out. Greg, is in a bad way. I remember what happened to him. And then Mark, you get into your escape pod, and the door doesn't close all the way, and you're fighting it and fighting it and fighting it. And just as another explosion rocks the ship, your escape pod is jettisoned into the vacuum of space with the door halfway open. And all of you
They exhale.
are paralyzed briefly by the shock of it. And Mark, you remember in the safety training, the one thing that comes back to you is to expel all the air out of your lungs, because otherwise they will be destroyed and you won't have any chance of survival. Not that you can see any chance at this point, but you on instinct breathe out all of the air from your lungs, and you feel the oxygen starvation of your body as it consumes what little oxygen fuel it has left. And you're not sure, as your eyesight begins to dim, you're not sure whether or not the door is moving, but you think it might be. And as you fade to black, that's the thought that you are left with. Is it closing, or am I dead? Joshua, the old couple is beside themselves with fear. They don't know what to do. The little old lady is shrieking. The old guy he looks physically ill. He's got one hand up on the wall, and he's leaned over, and he's sweating, and he's panting, and he begins to clutch his chest. And there's nothing in here except 3 human beings, a place for 2 people to sit.
Soon to be 2.
There's no first aid kit. There's no medical supplies at all. There's no drone. There's nothing. It's 3 people and a limited oxygen supply. Brett and Atticus, as you eject and tumble lazily off into space, you're in a rotation, but it's slow, and it's slow enough that there must be some sort of gravitational compensator on this thing, because you're swaying with the movement, but it's not throwing you off balance, and you're not losing your feet to hit the ceiling as it does its roll. This girl is, at this point, she is conscious, but her breathing is coming in labored gasps, and she's shaking visibly, and pale and sweating, and she starts to try and speak, but no sound comes out, just a rasp of air. And her eyes begin to unfocus themselves as she kind of stares seemingly through you and through the cabin of the escape pod, and one eyelid droops halfway down and stops, and her other eye is fully open, and a trickle of blood escapes her lips and runs down one side of her chin, and there's this rattling breath, and then she breathes her last breath, and you are in there with each other and this woman who has just died, and there's nowhere to put her. There's no There's not even anything to cover her up with. You're just there. And neither one of you have been this close to death, much less violent or traumatic death before. And as you look at each other and look out the window, as the escape pod does another roll, what comes into view out the window is where you were, and you can see that the gate has disintegrated and is expanding in debris, and the ship, there's only half of it there, and it is broken, and there's obviously a huge gaping hole at the back where there used to be more ship, but now it is just open, and you can see what you know are explosions, but then it's not like Hollywood. There's a very brief spark, but there's nothing to support the flame. So it's not like this big gout, this big mushroom of flame. It's a brief spark, and then you see more pieces of the ship fly off. And it's at that point where, as your pod that goes out of view, there's another brief roll, and your escape pod bumps into something, and as it moves away, you see out the window it's a person floating in space with some sort of particulate around their head. And after a rocky start, we've finished episode 0.5. I apologize for the technical difficulties we had to get rolling, but hopefully we got some fun role playing in, and now we're ready to start episode 1 in earnest. I didn't want to just monologue that whole thing and just leave it at that. I felt like you guys needed an opportunity to role play a little bit, so I wanted to surprise you with a bit of a 0.5 session instead of a session 0.
Do I choke out the old lady and save more oxygen and let the old dude die? And I'm just joking.
You're a psychopath.
Question is morality or surviving?
You guys are way too quiet.
Does Andy's character live?
Do we say? Oh, I guess no, she's already dead. So, do we save Andy's girlfriend?
That was her. That was the particulates.
Do we resurrect Andy's girlfriend? That's a better one.
With what?
She's dead. Don't worry.
What do I have to roll for resurrection?
The Jesus roll.
Yes.
I'm
Do I
just
roll
hoping
history
I'm not
for
the
that?
body you bumped
Yes.
on your way down.
All right.
Yeah, we couldn't hear it through the shuttle walls, but there was a faint. Sorry, excuse me.
It's all good. Once again, it's 9:01. So we didn't start on time at all, but we managed to kind of finish on time. And next time we'll find out what exactly happens to your characters.